The value you can get in the budget earbud market today is seriously impressive. So today I'll be scoring and ranking the best budget earbuds under $100 in 10 categories. I've also created a spreadsheet that allows you to customize the scoring to what matters most for you. Now the buds I've chosen here just have to have a retail price of under $100. A lot of the buds are a lot cheaper than that, some going even below $50. Now let's start with category 1, comfort. Now this is always a tricky category to score because we all have different ear shapes and sizes. So I'm keeping the scoring pretty close here, but I'll explain the buds in a way to see if they actually work for you. So here are all the scores, the Sony 700s with the lowest score of 7 out of 10. Because they do have the deepest fit. Not saying a deeper fit is necessarily bad. I personally don't mind a deep fit, but with this, they have the most suction and pressure in the ear canal. Tozo NC7 have a similar deep fit, but with slightly less pressure. Edifier Pro 2 and Earfun Free Pro 3 also with a 7.5, as they're just larger earbuds that might not work well if you do have larger ears, but they do have a nice light feel in the ear canal. And all the buds with a score of 8 have less pressure in the ear and just have a lighter feel overall. The 3 buds with an 8.5 have a slightly lighter feel. The Redmi Buds 5 Pro are going to work the best with smaller ears and if you like a more shallow fit. OnePlus Buds 3 also very close there, and the CMF Buds Pro still have a light feel, they're just slightly deeper. So here it really depends on what kind of fit you prefer. Now category 2 is the security of the fit. And I test all of my earbuds during my weight training sessions and I take them all on a quick run. So to keep this simple, I'm scoring most of the buds an 8. All the buds work great for me when weight training, where I'm only really having to readjust a couple of times throughout my workouts. The Earfun Free Pro 3 get a 9 as you get 2 sizes of wingtips to increase the stability. And those wingtips will work if you have small or large ears. I have very large ears, as you can see, and most wingtips don't really do much for me. These wingtips though are one of the few that actually work for me. The Galaxy Buds FE have one wingtip that doesn't really do much for me with my giant ears, but if you have normal sized ears or smaller ears, you can take advantage of this. And you have the option to use no wingtip on both pairs. Now when running, all the stem style earbuds generally work better as the weight of the stem holds the bud in place better. So this will minimize bodyborne noise from the impact you make on the ground and your own heavy breathing. The Sony 700s have quite a bit, to the point where I find the bodyborne noise too distracting when running. Tozo NC7s have a noticeable amount, but it's not as bad. And the rest of the buds are okay, some are better than others. If you want all of these nitty gritty details, it's in my spreadsheet, which is linked below. Now here's the dust and water resistant rating with all the earbuds. So all the buds with an IPX4 rating, that's going to be fine for sweat and splashes of water. Use in like heavy rain should be okay, but it's not guaranteed. You'd be safer in heavy rain with an IPX5 or 6. And some of the buds also have dust resistance, with the 5 replacing that X. Only the Galaxy Buds FE have an IPX2 rating, which isn't suited for sweat, splashes of water, and you definitely don't want to get caught in rain with them. Now category 3 is case and battery life. Now this is also a tricky one to score. The main considerations here is going to be earbud battery, total battery, case size, and if the case has wireless charging. Only the Soundcore Liberty 4NC and Earfun Free Pro 3 have wireless charging. In terms of case size, the most important factor is going to be how thick or how thin the case is. So here is my case thin ranking with the thinnest case at the top. But even the Sony 700 is still pretty compact, as you can see it here compared to the thinnest case, as well as the middle thinnest case. Something to note is the CMF Buds Pro case looks thick since it's not rounded, and it's definitely the most unique looking case, nothing following with their classic out there designs. Now to make this nice and easy, here is all the scoring I'm giving out, as well as the advertised amounts that you're getting. Soundpeats, Tozo, and Xiaomi are the only brands that don't advertise the battery life you get with noise cancelling on, which I just find super annoying. And the Tozo NC7 battery is insane with noise cancelling off. You usually lose about 1/3 of the battery with noise cancelling on, so the numbers I put in there are just estimations. The main things to note here is the low earbud battery on the Edifier TWS1 Pro 2 and Soundpeats Air 4 Pro, giving you only around 4 hours. And the total battery life is only 15 hours on the Sony 700s. So you'll have to be charging that case up a lot more often. Now the standout here is the Earfun Free Pro 3, and they're one of the cheaper buds today. The Soundcore Liberty 4NC is the best overall, as long as you don't mind a slightly thicker case. Now onto category number 4, controls. The main things I'm looking for here is the amount of touch control functions that you get, if you get wearing detection and if it actually works, and the amount of customization that you get. And it's all over the place here. To make this nice and easy, we'll run through one earbud at a time. So the Edifier Pro 2 get a 6.5, as you only get a double and triple tap. You can customize each earbud and add volume or voice assistant, but you're still going to be pretty limited. You do get wearing detection that works well, but it will activate if you place your bud on a surface if the sensor is covered. The Galaxy Buds FE get a 7. You can customize a long hold, so if you want to add volume or voice assistant, you have to lose your ambient control. The wearing detection only works when you take both earbuds out, but you do get always on Bixby, which is going to be on a Samsung device only. The Soundpeats Air 4 Pro get a 7.5, as you get a single, double, triple tap, and long hold. You can control everything except skipping tracks back, but you don't get any customization. You do get wearing detection that works great, but you can't customize the ambient control switching. So you're locked to having to switch between transparency, noise cancelling on, and noise cancelling off. Every other earbud allows you to customize this, so you can switch between, let's just say, noise cancelling on and transparency only. Now the Tozo NC7 get a 7.5. You get full control with decent customization. The wearing detection works well unless the sensor is face down on a surface and you can't turn that wearing detection off. Sony get a 7.5 as well. They're the only pair with physical button controls. And you can control everything with a quad tap to adjust volume up and down. You get barely any customization though, and there is no wearing detection, but at least you get everything you need. Now I've got 3 buds with an 8. The Soundcore 4 and C have full customization with everything you need. The wearing detection works great and the sensor can face down on a desk without activating. The CMF Buds Pro have the same amount of control, but the wearing detection will activate face down on a desk. And the Earfun Free Pro 3 doesn't have wearing detection, but you get the best freedom of customization. With each function, you have the option to set whatever you like to it. Where with all the other earbuds, you're going to be slightly limited to what you can add. Now the Redmi Buds 5 Pro get an 8.5. You have the ability to control everything with solid customization, and the wearing detection actually works even if you put your bud in your pocket, for example. They don't actually advertise skin detection, but it works like that, so they get the extra half point. The OnePlus Buds 3 wearing detection also does this, but they get an extra point as they have a swipe gesture for volume up and down or track forward and back. Basically with this, you're going to be able to control everything: play, pause, track forward and back, ambient control, as well as volume up and down when using just one earbud. And since you can also use that swipe gesture to skip tracks forward and back, you have even more options. They would get a score of 10 if they had squeeze controls instead of touch, because sometimes going in for that swipe, I would accidentally activate the single tap if I misswiped, but this would rarely happen. Now, category 5 is connectivity. We've got a lot to cover here. First, let's start with the codecs you're getting. If you're looking for high res or lossless, Earfun, OnePlus, Redmi, Soundcore, and Soundpeats have either LDAC, LHDC, aptX Adaptive High Res, or aptX Lossless. Galaxy Buds FE sort of have high res with their Samsung scalable codec, only on Samsung devices of course, so they can stream at 24-bit 96 kHz, but they go just over 500 kilobits per second, where LDAC and aptX Adaptive are closer to 900 kilobits per second, LHDC goes to 1000, and aptX Lossless 1200. Now, if you're thinking, what does all of this actually mean? Basically, if you're using any of those high-res codecs, they all sound pretty much the same to me. But like I always say, the codec only makes a tiny difference to the sound quality. What actually matters is how the bud is tuned. Now let's talk about what buds have multi-point connection. About half of the earbuds here today have it. So this means you're going to be able to connect 2 devices to the earbuds at the same time. Only the Soundpeats Air 4 Pro have takeover, so you don't even need to pause playback on one device before playing it on your other device. Where the rest of the earbuds with multi-point connection, you have to do that. The Galaxy Buds FE don't have multi-point connection, but they do have seamless switching between your Samsung devices. Now let's talk about single earbud use. So on all the pairs here today, you can use one earbud at a time while you leave the other in the case, but not all the buds are going to work in mono mode. So mono mode is when you're using just one earbud. It's the ability to hear the left and right audio channel, no matter which earbud you're using. So only half of the earbuds here today are going to work in mono mode. And finally, these are all the buds that have a low latency gaming mode. So this is mainly useful if you're into your mobile gaming and into quicker reaction games like shooters. And let me know in the comments if you want specific millisecond readings, because I can do that, but it just takes a lot of time. If you are keen, if I see enough comments, I can always add it to the spreadsheet at a later date. But anyway, taking everything into account here are all the scores. And Soundpeats get a solid 10 out of 10 because they just have everything when it comes to connectivity. And again, if you want to compare all this nice and easily, it's all on my spreadsheet. Now on to category 6, call quality. And I run through 3 tests: a quiet room, simulation loud kid noise, because it's kind of like spontaneous voices, and a simulation windy city with construction noise. And here are all the scores. The final score you're seeing here is the average of the 3 tests. And I'll leave you with some samples in just a sec. You want to check them out because some buds really struggle with wind noise and the voices. But first, you can't mute your microphone using the touch controls on any of the earbuds here today. The Earfun Free Pro 3, Soundcore Liberty 4 NC, Soundpeats Air 4 Pro, and Tozo NC7 don't allow you to switch between noise cancelling on and off or transparency mode when you're on a phone call. So once you enter that phone call, you're going to be stuck to whatever setting you had on last. Honestly, pretty annoying. The Edifier Pro 2 is the only bud with self-voice, so that allows you to hear your own voice, but it doesn't sound great. I just prefer to use transparency mode on a call since it is a lot clearer. But here are all the samples going from worst to best. All right, now we're testing the ability for the microphones to block out some simulation loud kid noise. All right, now we're testing the ability for the microphones to block out some construction noise, some city noise, and some simulation wind. All right, here's the call quality of the Soundpeaks Air 4 Pro. All right, here's the call quality of the Soundpeaks Air 4 Pro. All right, here's the call quality of the Soundpeaks Air 4 Pro. All right, here's the call quality of the Sony WF-C700N. All right, here's the call quality of the Sony WF-700N. All right, here's the call quality of the Sony 700N. All right, here's the call quality of the Tozo NC7. All right, here's the call quality of the Tozo NC7. All right, here's the call quality of the Tozo NC7. All right, here's the call quality of the Edifier TWS1 Pro 2. All right, here's the call quality of the Edifier TWS1 Pro 2. All right, here's the call quality of the Edifier TWS1 Pro 2. All right, here's the call quality of the Samsung Galaxy Buds FE. All right, here's the call quality of the Galaxy Buds FE. All right, here's the call quality of the Galaxy Buds FE. All right, here's the call quality of the OnePlus Buds 3. All right, here's the call quality of the OnePlus Buds 3. All right, here's the call quality of the OnePlus Buds 3. All right, here's the call quality of the Soundcore Liberty 4 NC. All right, here's the call quality of the Soundcore Liberty 4 NC. All right, here's the call quality of the Soundcore Liberty 4 NC. All right, here's the call quality of the Earphone 3 Pro 3. All right, here's the call quality of the Earphone 3 Pro 3. All right, here's the call quality of the Earphone 3 Pro 3. All right, here's the call quality of the CMF Buds Pro. All right, here's the call quality of the CMF Buds Pro. All right, here's the CMF Buds Pro with some city noise, construction noise, and wind noise. All right, here's the call quality of the Redmi Buds 5 Pro. All right, here's the call quality of the Redmi Buds 5 Pro. All right, here's the call quality of the Redmi Buds 5 Pro with some city noise, construction noise, and simulation wind. All right, category 7 is app customization and extra features. I've already covered some aspects, so I'll just touch on everything in each app and go into a bit more detail later. So Soundpeaks get a 6. You do get a band EQ with presets. The hearing test doesn't work, at least for me, and you can't customize the controls. You can only turn them off or turn the wearing detection on and off. Edifier gets a 6.5. You only get EQ presets, no band customization, but you get control customization, noise cancelling options, wind noise reduction, ear detection toggle, and a Find My Buds feature that will emit a beep from the earbuds. Tozo get a 7. You get EQ band as well as presets, solid control customization, noise cancelling strength, and wind noise reduction, which is pretty impressive at their price. Sony get a 7, they have a solid EQ, transparency customization, and some niche extra features like adaptive sound control, which will automatically change your ambient control based off locations you visit or movement. They also have 360 audio, which is like spatial audio, but it can only be used with compatible apps. The CMF Buds Pro get an 8. They use the regular Nothing X app, which has a great layout. The band EQ sounds strange, at least at the time of this video, and at least right now the Buds are not officially released yet, so I feel like that'll get fixed with some firmware. But you get great control customization, noise cancelling strength options, wearing detection toggle, low latency game mode, and a Find My Buds with a beep. Earphone get an 8, they have all the basics. You get a great EQ, noise cancelling customization based off your ear type, which works surprisingly well. Find My Buds with a beep, low latency game mode, and a wind noise reduction toggle. Galaxy Buds FE also get an 8. You only get EQ presets, so no band customization. Control customization is limited, but they do have some nice extra features like Find My Buds based on location, always on Bixby on Samsung devices. You can have notifications read out loud on any Android device, and some audio accessibility with left and right audio balance, and you can customize that transparency quite a bit. The Redmi Buds 5 Pro get an 8.5. They use the Xiaomi Earbuds app. You do need to create an account, which is pretty annoying, but the app has everything you need. A band EQ with presets, a wearing detection toggle, personalized noise cancelling that doesn't do much, at least for me. And they do have spatial audio, but it's honestly not that good. The OnePlus Buds 3 get a 9. They use the Hey Melody app, and all these apps are available on iOS or Android, except for the Galaxy Buds FE app, only available on Android devices. But on the Hey Melody app, you get everything here, as well as a solid hearing test for personalized sound, and some of the best spatial audio I've tested in any earbud in any price range. The only thing missing here is a wearing detection toggle. Now, Soundcore get a 9.5. They have everything I just mentioned, plus some extras like safe volume listening and a wind reduction toggle. And the app is super reliable, it has a great UI. They also have spatial audio, but like the Redmi Buds, it's not that good. Now, onto category 8, noise cancelling. And how I test my noise cancelling, I chuck on my soundbar and I'm playing simulation plane noise and crowd noise, so I get low, middle, high, consistent, as well as inconsistent sounds. And here are all the scores. It's pretty close here. Even the Soundpeaks Air 4 and Tozo NC7 have pretty strong noise cancelling. But Edifier does take the win overall when it comes to the dollar to noise cancelling strength ratio. And some buds do perform slightly better with low frequency sounds compared to high frequency sounds. So think of the scoring here as more of an average. But there is a lot more to noise cancelling than just how strong it is. We need to talk about wind noise reduction, EQ shift, and single earbud use. This is quite specific and niche stuff, but this is picky audio. This is what we do here. So all of this won't count to the scoring because it just gets too confusing, to be honest. But let's start with wind noise here. So with noise cancelling on, since the earbuds are using microphones to block out external sounds, and a lot of the time the microphones will pick up wind quite easily. So some of the pairs have automatic wind noise reduction built in to stop this. Some will have a toggle that you can turn on and off. Now I'm gonna be here all day if I explain each earbud individually, so you can pause here and have a look if this is something that you're looking out for. Next is EQ shift. So this is how your sound quality changes with noise cancelling on compared to noise cancelling off compared to transparency. And it is nice to see on most buds, switching between noise cancelling to transparency, there's a minimal amount of EQ shift, and these are the two most common options that you're gonna use. Now, switching to noise cancelling off is usually when you're gonna see the biggest shift. And with some buds, it is quite noticeable. I have it represented as a rough percentage here. And with some earbuds, just the bass will change, maybe just the treble, sometimes it's both. And finally, there's single earbud use. So can you actually use noise cancelling when using just one earbud where you leave the other in the case? And it's nice to see most of the pairs you can do this. And if you appreciate all this extra info, please chuck a like down there because it takes a decent amount of time to test all of this, especially in these top 10 videos. I appreciate it. Now on to category 9, transparency mode. And here is all the scoring. So with this, I'm taking into account how clear and natural the transparency mode sounds, as well as the amount of white noise hiss they have and occlusion. So occlusion is when you're speaking yourself with transparency mode on. With some earbuds, you get kind of a blocked feeling in your ear canal and your own voice doesn't sound very natural. So the Soundpeats Air 4 Pro with the best transparency mode. It's just the easiest to hear surroundings as well as voices. But they do have some moderate white noise hiss and a small amount of occlusion. Where the Galaxy Buds FE, they're not as clear, but they do have less white noise and less occlusion. And some earbuds do give you some customization options where you can focus on voices instead of your surroundings. But at least like for me, for a transparency mode, I like the transparency mode just to have one setting, not have to change anything, and for it to work well with surroundings as well as voices. Now onto the final and most important category, at least for me, sound quality. So let's start with volume first. Here are all the results I got in my max volume test. And most earbuds here way louder than average compared to my premium earbud ranking. So even the Edifier Pro 2 with the lowest decibels, 113 is still incredibly loud. Honestly, over 100 decibels, you're starting to get into some hearing loss territory. Now, when it comes to low level listening, here's a rough ranking. None of the earbuds use a special EQ to boost bass and treble at those lower volumes, since naturally we hear slightly less. What's gonna matter here is the type of tuning. So if it's a more V-shaped tuning, that's gonna naturally sound a little bit better at those lower volumes. So most of the earbuds, not amazing at low volumes, but they're all gonna sound good enough. But now onto the sound quality itself. And when I'm talking about the sound here, this is gonna be with my favorite EQ customization on. And do keep in mind, even the lowest ranked earbuds here still sound very decent. The sound quality on budget earbuds has come incredibly far in the last couple of years. So the Tozo and C7 get a 6.5. This is the most V-shaped tuning here. The bass is on the boomy side. The mids are quite recessed and the upper treble is boosted just way too high for my liking. And I do like myself a lot of treble. This can be fixed in the EQ, but only so much. Still, the treble is quite detailed and well separated, but the soundstage is a bit closed in. The Redmi Buds 5 Pro also get a 6.5. Without EQing, they sound super flat, which you might like. We all have different preferences, but I ramp up the bass and treble, but this only helps so much. Like I always say, you can only steer so far from the stock tuning with a lot of earbuds. But overall, you get a pretty balanced tuning with forward and clear mids being the standout. And you do get spatial audio without head tracking, but it's pretty bad. I honestly wouldn't even call it usable. The Edifier TWS1 Pro 2 get a 7. You only get presets, no band EQ customization. I do like the rock preset, but the treble is a little bit harsh. So classic or pop for me is gonna sound the best. And this is a pretty balanced tuning here with slightly boosted sub bass that's still pretty punchy. Soundstage isn't too bad. The mids are forward with vocals that can be a bit shouty at times, and the treble can get a bit messy at times as well. The upper treble is a bit lacking, so you don't get much sparkle, but the lower treble is too boosted, which is what I think causes some sibilance. And it just sounds slightly off at times. I played around with the Spotify EQ, dialing down the treble and upper mids, and this did help a little bit. So if you want to use an external EQ, this can be fixed a bit. Now the CMF Buds Pro get a 7.5. The focus here is on the bass, which is what they advertise on their website. So you get boosted sub bass with the most subwoofer-like feeling. That is a little bit on the boomy side, so I definitely wouldn't call this a punchy bass response, but it's not completely over the top or messy. You get a super smooth mid-range here where vocals are natural but clear, and the treble is on the darker side, so you get just enough for it to stand out from the bass, but no amazing detail here. And with bass boosted tunings like this, the soundstage is a bit closed in. The band EQ also doesn't sound good, it just makes the buds sound super strange. Like I said, I think this can be fixed by firmware, and if it is, I'll chuck a comment down below. Now, the Earfun Free Pro 3 also get a 7.5. The stock tuning is just okay. I like a bit of mid and treble boosting. So you're getting a V-shaped tuning here with nice sub bass that is a little bit on the boomy side. The vocals are slightly recessed, but still cut through nicely. The treble has nice sparkle and you get a pretty open soundstage. The Soundcore Liberty 4NC get an 8. You get a hearing test here, which works great for me. I just use that, which mainly boosts the mids and treble slightly. And you can EQ the buds further after doing that hearing test. Now this is a pretty bass boosted tuning, but with overall solid clarity. Excellent vocals, nice detailed treble. It's just a soundstage that is a bit average, but it's not too bad. The 3D surround is like their spatial audio without head tracking. It is slightly better than the Redmi buds, but I also really wouldn't call it usable. Now the Soundpeats Air 4 Pro get an 8.5. The stock tuning here is a little bit on the flat side. For me, they need a bit of bass boosting and a lot of treble boosting. But after this EQing, they sound seriously impressive. They have the punchiest bass response out of all the earbuds, but you still get a tasteful amount of sub and mid bass. The mids here are slightly boosted with vocals that come across forward but natural. You get a smooth treble response here, and even with my EQing, it's still a little bit lacking when it comes to detail and sparkle, but combine an open soundstage and it's just a nice, clean and energetic tuning. Now we've got two buds here with a score of 9. Starting with the Sony 700s after some bass and treble boosting, my go-to EQing if you couldn't tell. These are just a nice dynamic sound. The bass is full, but you still get nice punch. The mids are rich, both male and female vocals stand out the best out of all the buds here today. The treble is smooth with a subtle boost in that upper treble for a little sprinkle of that sparkle that I love at the same time without ever getting harsh. The Galaxy Buds FE actually sound kind of similar, just with a bit more emphasis on the sub bass rather than the mid bass. The vocals aren't as forward, but the treble has a little bit of extra detail and sparkle. Both also have a nice open soundstage, but you only get EQ presets on the Buds FE and all of them honestly aren't that great. Now the OnePlus Buds 3 get a score of 9.5. Only slightly better than Sony and Samsung, and you do get a band EQ, presets, as well as a bass wave slider, which will kind of focus more on sub bass and try to retain as much clarity at the same time. They also have a hearing test that works really well. I just like using that hearing test and chucking the bass slider on one. And this is just the best overall bass response, a perfect balance of mid and sub bass, so you get a full rich response as well as a bit of punch. The mids are slightly recessed, but they still sound great. The standout here though is the treble, the nicest out of all the buds today. They're the only buds to strike that great balance of detail and sparkle. So female vocals sound great, hi-hats and crashes have nice ring and sparkle to them. So with this, you get solid instrument separation and the soundstage is about on par with Sony and Samsung. And the spatial audio they use is actually very decent. It's on par with the Denon Pearl Pro and they're like 5 times the price. Now you don't get head tracking here, but it will immensely open up the soundstage and it doesn't add too much weird echo and reverb, which most earbuds that use spatial audio have. So this is actually usable and it's quite fun to play around with. But I do prefer the sound with spatial audio off. All right, that wraps up all 10 categories. And before we go into the final score, just keep in mind, this is my scoring system. It just makes it easier to compare all these earbuds. But if it helps you out as well, that's great. In this ranking doesn't matter much if certain categories have a higher importance to use. That's why I created my custom scoring spreadsheet, free to download, linked below. So on there you get every score, notes for each score, specifications, a core quality section, but it's a personalized scoring where you can have some fun. So you just fill out a number in the importance column and that will multiply that entire category. 0 to get rid of it, 0.5 to halve it, 2 to double it, and that will in turn change the total score, giving you a new personalized final ranking. But now here are the final scores. The Earfun Free Pro 3 and Galaxy Buds FE tied third, both with 80.5 out of 100. The Soundcore Liberty 4NC just in second with 81 points. And the OnePlus Buds 3 wins by a bit of a landslide with 85 out of 100. And that's currently the highest score I've ever given out. Now there's always going to be certain factors that'll determine whether or not the bud works for you, but this is the first time in one of my ranked videos where I can just easily, if you're asking me which bud is the best to get, it's going to be the OnePlus Buds 3. The price you're paying here, they're actually outperforming most premium earbuds, even 5 times their price. So if you want to check out my full review, I compared them to the best of the best earbuds in any price range. Check that video out. In the meantime, stay picky. I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.